Chelsea to begin with. Very good result against Liverpool. But yesterday, they started very poorly against Newcastle and conceded in the opening couple of minutes. But then really and truly, Jackson cost them the game. Stupid red card. They played really well in the second half, just couldn't get the second goal. And then a good deflected effort from Guimaraes sealed their fate. First of all, I mean, how stupid is Jackson? And what do you make of the calls from Chelsea fans? They don't want to see him ever in a Chelsea shirt again after what he did.
Yeah, remember last week I told you Chelsea beating Liverpool means nothing if they don't go ahead and do it in the next weeks. I was talking about that game in isolation. This is a top 4 race game right here. These next 3 games, Chelsea Football Club, these next 3 games that they had after Liverpool. Newcastle is a top 4 versus top 4. Forest is a top 4 versus top 4. And one thing Terry Flowers will tell you, Man United is Chelsea's bogey team. We can laugh at Man United till the cows come home every single time. By the way, when Chelsea were second in the league, they drew to Man United 1-1 earlier on this season. It literally happened in front of our very own eyes. So, like, Man United are Chelsea's bogey team, right? If Chelsea do not get top 5, there is no excuse. There is literally no saving that football club from banter, from disrespect all summer long, because you are 2 points behind Liverpool Football Club. If you do not end up getting top 5, it is the ultimate, like, failure from that position that you are in as an institution and as a team. Nicholas Jackson yesterday just forearm smashed, the defender for no reason whatsoever. And we sit here and we speak about experience. We sit here and we speak about players being in the right positions at the right time, players working hard. We speak about all these conversations. But I'm going to be fair and objective now. I think Newcastle beating Chelsea at St. James's Park is not really something that we should sit here and we should, like, say anything about. But this Friday, you do not beat Manchester United. That's when the hell will break loose. That's when we will have the real conversations. Because your next games are Man United and Forest. The Forest owner is on the pitch, like, literally fighting Nuno Santo. Man United are crap, as you've just heard for the last 50 minutes. So these are the 2 games you must win. But Nicholas Jackson did cost, like, Chelsea a little bit yesterday. It's just so unnecessary. Why are you just UFC punching someone? I just don't know why, to be honest with you. It's just, even let's say, want to know something more? They were 1-0 down at the time, right? Even if Chelsea had like a 15% chance of, like, getting 1-1 or 2-1 or whatever, it was gone directly with 10 minutes St. James's Park. So I think it's just such
They played better with 10 men, They actually played better with 10 men, Chelsea. It's crazy. And
yeah, which is why he shouldn't have never done that. Well, because if he just stayed on the pitch, he would have given his team a little bit, at least a chance.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't think Chelsea were going to win yesterday. I thought Newcastle would have won comfortably. In fact, it wasn't that comfortable, actually. Chelsea looked good with 10 men, as I say. However, the Nicholas Jackson situation, he's a squad player and they've tried to turn him into a Drogba. That's what they've tried to do with this guy. And they're putting pressure on him to be their guy who's getting 30 goals a season. He's never going to do that. Now, I don't think he's absolutely a shambles of a player. However, he ain't going to win Chelsea nothing, in my opinion. And when Chelsea have got a goalkeeper like Sanchez and a striker like Jackson, they're not serious. And people can say they've spent this money, this, that, and the third, but it doesn't matter. The 2 most important positions on a football field are a goalkeeper and a striker. There's no team that's won anything, not just Premier Leagues, with shockingly bad goalkeepers and strikers. If you're a serious outfit, you have to look at those 2 positions first. Chelsea have looked at them last. They're now 3 years into this new project under, the new ownership, and they haven't bought a goalkeeper and a striker yet. Now, I banter Arsenal for not buying a striker, but we've had strikers like Aubameyangs and stuff. They haven't had anyone, really. You look at the strikers that they've tried to win stuff with. The strikers at their club are Mark Guy, is it? I've not seen much of him, and Nicholas Jackson. That is terrible to go into a season with Nicholas Jackson and Mark Guy, and then 2 goalkeepers that can't catch a cold. It is poor. Let's be real. It is really poor. And that's why Chelsea are going to struggle to get Champions League. If they get Champions League and they win that Conference Cup, which neither is going to be that simple, by the way, because Betis are playing well and obviously the top 5.
Come on, Betis.
There we go, right? So if they don't win that, then unfortunately, if Don's listening, I know he's living life up in Ibiza. He's going to have to hold that because he said it was Pochettino that was the issue. If they fall below where Pochettino finished and they don't win that Conference League, it will be ultimate failure, and Maresca will be called a PE teacher. That's basically how much of a flip it can be. So look, I know people don't know that I'm not a fan of Chelsea, right? Chelsea always banter us, but what they're turning into is Arsenal, and they don't like it, and they don't want to accept it. But they're turning into that 4 years without a trophy. We're trusting the process. The new ownership's come in. Give it time. It will work. I'm not sure that it will. That's all I'll say.
No, I disagree with you completely. I actually think this Chelsea... Sorry, Terry. I actually thought that when I'm watching Chelsea yesterday, the team looked much, much better than before. Yes, they lost a stupid player maybe cost them the game. Newcastle, we're not giving enough credit to Newcastle. Newcastle is just a good team. Newcastle are a very good team, and they play at their ground. Newcastle they won the last 6 games at their home ground. We're being too harsh on Chelsea for this game in isolation. They won 3 games that everyone said they're not going to win against Fulham. Everyone said they're not going to win against Everton. People said that they're not going to win against Liverpool. But yeah, they had 3 wins out of 3 wins. Then they go to Newcastle, which is no one wins against Newcastle away from home, right? They play with Tim Mem, create chances, stay in the game, try to win. Lavia look good. Enzo Fernandez look good. The wingers look okay. 10 men. Enzo Maresca managed the game in the second half well. And I think we're being too harsh on them.
Did you give him this credit when they were in a title race in December and lost?
No, I didn't. But I'm talking about this game and the last 3 games when we said they're out and down. They're down and out.
But you're talking about the last
you're talking about
the season. I'm talking about
so Chelsea. Chelsea started the season very, very well. Fell off for 15 games or something like this. Came back. They are in contention. They lost to Newcastle. I believe that they're going to win against Newcastle and they're going to win against Nottingham Forest.
You mean
watching the game? Man United and Nottingham Forest. Watching the game yesterday. If you watch the game yesterday and you don't believe that this Chelsea team, now that Jackson is out, you will have to find a different striker or a different way of playing. He might play Cole Palmer false 9, and you don't believe that Chelsea will win against Man United. I know this superstitious thing, whatever, the Sam talk boogie team, but on paper, Man United have a Europa League to focus on, right? Boogie. Chelsea have boogie team, whatever, like boogie team. So I actually don't think it is, but I think,
by the way.
But on paper, Man United are not even focused on this game, and they play in Stamford Bridge like Liverpool. Or Sam, Liverpool went to Stamford Bridge. You weren't focused on the game. This Man United.
It's not the same because we're league.
It is the same because, by the way, when is the last time Chelsea beat Liverpool?
Man United players have no reason to be drunk right now.
No. But hold on. When is the last time Liverpool beat Chelsea? Was years ago. The last time Chelsea beat Liverpool, and in this game because Liverpool didn't care. Chelsea won.
I understand what you're saying about Newcastle, but hear me out. Here's the thing, and you have to agree with this. Newcastle, I agree with you. Even after speaking, no, you have to agree with us. After speaking about Newcastle, what did I say at the end? I said you go to St. James's Park and you lose, it's not that big of a deal, right? No problem.
Thank you.
But the next 2 games, though, it is a big deal. Do you agree now?
Yes, and I believe they're gonna win them. Do you? Okay, let me ask you straight question. See the difference? No offense. Do you believe watching Chelsea yesterday? You're watching Man United. You're watching Nottingham Forest. Do you believe that Chelsea will win these 2 games? I'm not.
I can't
just a simple thing.
See, this is what I agree with Mo. I agree with Mo. Look, they're beating Man United. I know it's my team. I would love to win. Just because I'd love there to be a match a week where we didn't have to have an Amorim conversation, right? But we are going to rest and rotate heavily. They will beat us, in my opinion, at Stamford Bridge. I'm so convinced by that. I'm at peace with it as well. I really am. I hope we win, but I doubt it. Forest as well, I think they've got a good chance of beating them. I don't think Chelsea were bad yesterday. Yes, Lavia gets caught on the ball and they concede an early goal. But even the goal, no disrespect to Newcastle, the shot was shanked and it made it bounce over the goalkeeper. The goalie actually dived in the right area. Newcastle were the better team in the opening 45 minutes, but I've seen Newcastle do that to Peak City in the last couple of years. So it's not something to be embarrassed about. Nico Jackson getting sent off is the issue. Now, I know people love to do this to Arteta. I don't blame Maresca for what Nico Jackson did. You know, I don't think anything that the manager said made him go and elbow someone in the fucking face. That was the difference. In the second half, they adjusted. They were more aggressive, Chelsea. They created a couple of decent opportunities to score. They just couldn't penetrate a very good Newcastle playing 10 versus 11. And I felt they were, in the end, I thought 2-0 in the end was a little bit flattering to Newcastle, because in the second half, they did, yes, they had opportunities, but if you mess up your final ball, you mess up your shot. I criticize Man United for it. You're not good enough, really. Yes, you're in the positions, but you still got to criticize the finishing. And I thought that Chelsea were good value yesterday, actually. I didn't think they were that bad. Excellent against Liverpool. Excellent in the previous game. Very good in the second half against Fulham. I think there's a great chance they beat Manchester United. And look, Forest haven't looked good recently. They could beat Forest. Forest have not looked very good at all.
Chelsea will beat Man United, most likely, right? So, like, if we're talking likelihoods, I think it's like a 70% chance Chelsea beat Man United, right? I'm not going to deny that. But you still have to get it over the line, Terry, because it's not about our predictions on a straight facts on a Monday. It's about the application of the players this Friday. It's about the way that they play this Friday. It's about them trying their best to get a win this Friday. And that's what matters. And for me, Chelsea now have to get it over the line from this position. Like, because they have to go to Forest away, by the way. Like, Forest away, after the owner coming in, basically... and fighting with Nuno Santo on the pitch. Like, Forest away is not going to be easy, my friends. I know they're in a bad run of form now. I understand that. I respect that. Like, they drew with Leicester, which is like a shock. Completely understood. But, I'm just being honest, that is not a given. So now, Chelsea have to do the job this Friday. I'm giving them a bye for losing to Newcastle away. No problem. Because you won the previous 3 games and you lost at St. James's Park. So I understand, no problem. Away in Newcastle is very difficult. Like, we literally had a Salah all-timer performance to just get a draw over there. So it's obviously very difficult. All I'm saying is now, this Friday, you have to win. You have to beat Man United. This Friday, there will be 0 excuses. These 0 excuses for not beating Man United. And even Terry himself, who's a United fan, and quite an optimistic one, not as down and buried as a lot of United fans, he just said, he's acknowledged that they're going to lose this Friday. So if you're a Chelsea fan listening to this, I don't give a shit about Jackson not playing. I don't want no excuses.
The only thing, though, what I would say, sitting there thinking about it, and my own thoughts on United is, often it's these games that the players go, I've got to show something today. It's Chelsea. So but the only caveat to that is, and this is where I don't hold Amorim accountable, but I get it. The only thing I'd say about our recent defeats in the league is, as soon as we got to that semi-final of the Europa League and we knew we couldn't be relegated, how much intensity are our players putting into the game? I know Spurs have lost a lot of games all year. They rotated a lot yesterday. But I watched Tottenham's league games as well. The fight I saw from those Tottenham players in the Europa League against Frankfurt and against Bodo Glimt versus what I've seen in the Prem, there was almost an element of they're taking those games easy, and I just don't know if we're going to play with intensity. And in the Premier League, you don't
clean sheet away at Frankfurt.
If you don't play with intensity in the Premier League, you get beat. No matter how good you are, if there's no intensity, you get beat. The quality's too high. So I just don't know if we can beat them. But listen, Forest, they're going away to West Ham next, and I don't know if they're going to win that. I don't know if they're going to win it. They might be out of it by the time it comes to the final day of the season, depending on other results.
Yeah, but the problem is, and I think Mo mentioned this yesterday, it's not even Forest anymore. I think we're looking at, I think it's Aston Villa we're actually looking at.
Yeah.
Aston Villa, and here's the thing, see, now we have to be honest and objective. Aston Villa's last 2 games are who, Terry? Man United and Spurs.
United. Yeah.
Sandwich between Europa League.
Yeah,
sandwich between Europa League.
In the Europa final as well. So they're playing the team after the Europa final.
Yeah.
And before the Europa final.
What I would say on it is this. That's what I'd say on it. If we win the Europa League, I think we beat Villa in the last game of the season.
No, you won't.
I think we will. I think we will because there'll be a relaxation and a little bit of a feel-good feeling. If we lose, we are going to get pumped. By the way, I think it's the opposite for Tottenham. I think Tottenham, it'll be the opposite. Just my gut feeling. So yeah, the Villa, it's going to be so interesting. Looking at these teams, it's so close. But if Forest lose to West Ham,
but you have to forget about Forest, Terry.
No,
Right?
because I'm talking about, no, I can't forget Forest, because what Forest on the final day of the season, are they fighting for Champions League? Are they out of it?
Okay.
If
Okay.
they-
My
so
bad.
Okay, I get your point.
Yes, what I'm saying is, let's just
Oh, I
break the
get
maths down. Let's break the maths down. So if they lose to West Ham, they'll be on 62 points. We're all saying, aren't we? We're saying that Chelsea are beating Man United, yes?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, most
Let's
likely.
assume that.
Okay, let's assume that, right? Based on our prediction. So that would put Chelsea 5 points ahead of them. They can't catch Chelsea the final day. City versus Bournemouth. Who do you think is winning that game? At City
City.
ground.
City.
So City would go on to 68 points. They can't be caught by Forest. Newcastle versus Arsenal. Who's winning it?
Newcastle.
Or,
Newcastle.
draw. It's a draw. It's a draw.
Okay, so
It's a
draw.
the Emirates.
Okay,
It's a draw.
Okay, cool. Doesn't matter. A draw puts Newcastle onto 67 points. If Forest lose to West Ham and those other three results you all believe are going to happen, Forest can no longer make the Champions League, which tells you, like, final day of the season, Chelsea should still be in the race. I think they beat Forest. Forest versus Chelsea is determined by Forest results on West Ham, in my opinion. So if they lose,
Yes, but
to
then
West
you've got
Ham,
the Villa, but you've left one team out of the equation, which is Aston Villa. They have the same exact identical record as Chelsea, 18-9-9, same identical record.
I agree, but again, I'm not saying Chelsea are 100% going to make it, but we're talking about, are Chelsea going to win their next two matches?
I understand, Terry, the last game might not mean as much for Forest. I understand that. I'm saying I'm not looking at Forest as the main contender to knock Chelsea out anymore.
I understand that. And that doesn't matter. I'm talking about Chelsea's games. Chelsea have a superior goal difference, +19 versus +7. So Chelsea have one more point now than Villa. It's not identical. They've got one more point, essentially, because they've got a better goal difference. And if Chelsea beat Man United and Forest lose to West Ham, I think it's just done. I just think it's over. Personally.
Yeah, fair.
Or even draw, by the way. Or even draw, by the way.
Yeah. Like,
Or
Forest
even
got
draw,
win.
because the goal difference is +8. So basically, Forest have to beat Chelsea by +4 goal margins for it to be equal. And still Chelsea will go through on goal scored. So, I think Forest will draw West Ham. I don't think Forest will win. I think Forest will draw West Ham, and it will be 3 points, and Forest will be out at that time unless they win 5-0 against Chelsea in the final day. The team that we're not looking at is Man City.